Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, everybody. Have a holly jolly Christmas. It really is the best time of the year. And guess that poll, we talked to you about that poll in the Big Five this morning, and Trudy Mason had it in a newscast. I guess it's okay to say the Merry Christmas. People like it, eh? Listen, tomorrow on CJAD 800, I am so enthused, super jazzed, excited about basically a must-listen to tune-in event. You know, CJAD 800, I know it's a part of your life. We just passed 77 years on air here at CJAD 800. And I know, how we listen to CJAD. We turn it on in the mornings, right? It's throughout our day. Oh, we're in the car. We pop on CJAD 800. And then we leave the car. We turn it off. And then we come back into the car. It's back on. It's sort of a part of our lives throughout the day. But what we're doing this weekend, tomorrow night on Saturday, is something very unique and different because it's a sort of like, hey, set a reminder, tell your assistant on your smartphone, you have to tune in at this precise hour and listen to a full hour. There's no dipping in or dipping out. You gather around the family, around the radio or the smart speaker to listen to CJAD 800. And why? Well, it's because we're pulling off a radio play, a CJAD 800 Christmas Carol. Sarah Deshaies, producer of the Andrew Carter Morning Show, decided, you know what? I want to make my life more difficult. Add some more work to my plate. And she decided to produce this radio play for us here at CJAD 800. And she went around asking people about, hey, let's all contribute. And boy, was I gung-ho. Sarah is in the studio. Sarah.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I mentioned, you have a lot of work already. Okay.
Yeah, there is, the day.
And you have the worst schedule.
It's not so bad. I mean, I got to go home and nap in the middle of the day. It's kind of like a secret pleasure of mine. I'm like, you guys, I peace out for a couple of hours. It's not so bad. But
still, having said that, why'd you say, you know what? This is something, maybe it's been in your brain for a while, but why'd you say, hey, let's do this. Let's adapt the Charles Dickens classic for Montreal and our listeners?
Credit where credit is due. It wasn't my idea in the first place. It was something that had been kicked around for a couple of years. Kelly Albert, who you know, former producer here, proud to call her a friend of mine. She and Andrew would talk about it. And I think there were some other folks who had kind of batted the idea around. And I just kind of felt like, why not? No time like the present. Why don't we do this? And I got his blessing and her blessing, and they're both in the piece as well. Andrew is, no big surprise, there's Scrooge, because he is my host, and I wanted to put him forward. And then I ran around, as you said, recruiting folks. No one said no. Everyone was really good about it. Maybe I had to chase one or two people here or there. But I number one, I have a background in theater in the sense that I did a lot of theater in high school. I was in a Shakespeare club, which is super dorky, and did theater at Dawson College, not studying it as a student, but on the side. And I still cover theater locally if you've listened to the weekend list. So I just love theatrical things, and I love radio, and I love radio plays. And so I said I'd like to do this, and I thought the boss would have tons of questions for me and be like, I don't know if we have time, whatever. But he was just like, okay, yeah, go. And I was like, oh, yeah.
That's great.
And I sat down on this. Remember there was a Saturday in November that was really warm. It was summer-like. I did not go outside. I went to the library. I sat down. I opened the book. I read the whole story, and I wrote the adaptation over the next couple of days.
Oh, my goodness.
So I just think it would be fun to do something fun for everyone here, like a group activity for us, because it's been tough. Not everyone is in the studio as much as we used to be. And I also wanted to do this for the listeners because I figured people would enjoy it, whether you celebrate Christmas or not.
I had a note of a question I wanted to ask is like, how did you cast Scrooge? And you already covered, but what about casting in general? Like, did you have to think about like, oh, this person, that kind of like, what went into that?
Oh, great question. I think I based things, number one, a little bit about who would sound more like would be a better fit. So Pete Merrier, Bad Peter, as I like to call him over at Showm, has a very gravelly smoker's kind of voice. And so he's Jacob Marley, which is the former partner of Scrooge who's passed on and comes back as a ghost. And I thought that would be a good fit. Lola, your producer, she has a real British accent. There's no accents in this. Everyone speaks in their normal voice, but she's potentially the youngest person on staff. And I said, would you do Tiny Tim?
It's so perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah, and she's quite good. And I find myself quoting her from time to time. And then Trudy Mason plays Mrs. Cratchit, Bob Cratchit's wife, because, well, she is a mom and she's more of the age. The other thing, too, that you might notice is that we tried to be a bit more gender balanced. There are definitely more male voices than female, but I got to play around with some of the characters that aren't as fleshed out in the original story. I created some characters and things like that. So in some situations, you have a man and a woman together. So just to make it a little bit more balanced, I think.
And we have a snippet that we're going to air now. So this is the first time a snippet of this CJAD 800 Christmas Carol is going to air. So this is just a snippet, 40 seconds. I think it features you and Scrooge.
Oh, okay.
and just for everyone listening, this is going to air the full hour special, the first airing tomorrow at 7 p.m. Have a listen now to a snippet of a CJAD 800 Christmas Carol.
Indeed, Bob, winter in Montreal is cold, bleak, biting, but it was not that much warmer indoors. Scrooge kept a close eye on his lowly clerk. Bob Cratchit sat calculating, shivering in the cold darkness. The modest fire was barely enough to heat the counting house, and Scrooge kept the coal safely stored in his office.
Add some coal. Invite them in. Nonsense! What is this, a charity? Do I look like Father Christmas to you? I'll drive them off myself. Begone, Scoot! Get out of here! Get lost! Go sing your silly songs somewhere else.
Well, I never! This is tradition.
There you go. Andrew Carter, the role of Scrooge, Sarah Day narrating. Hey, what's the copyright stuff on this? This is like 1840 Charles Dickens. We can do what we want here. How does that work?
Yes, it was actually published 178 or 9 years ago, Monday, December the 19th, as a novella. And he would go on to write several Christmas stories. And this was kind of like, because people loved Christmas. Victorians were rediscovering a passion for Christmas, and they were buying and spending money. And this is like, he would make money at the end of the year this way. And so, yes, so there's a certain amount of time that's passed since the author has passed on and since the thing was published, so you can go and adapt it. But this is our own adaptation. We're not using anyone else's play. We checked with legal. I was not able to use like a past radio play, for example. You can go online and find Mercury Theater, Lionel Barrymore, Drew Barrymore's great-great-uncle, I think. She comes from an acting dynasty. So you could listen to that if you wanted. That was recorded in the late 30s. But this is a totally redone adaptation that is set in Montreal, has references to smoked meat and cheese curds. As well as Griffintown and kids playing hockey in the street. It's not like heavy-handed, but there's little references here and there. And for longtime listeners, and anyone can listen, you could be a new listener and tune in, but for longtime listeners, you will hear references to our past greats on the station. So there's also kind of like Easter eggs there for you as well.
Well, let me tell you something. Every Christmas, I watch the Alistair Sim version of A Christmas Carol, and I'm so excited to add every Christmas a CJAD 800 Christmas Carol to something that I'll do every single Christmas.
Don't compare it to Alistair Sim because he is the great Scrooge. But yes, really happy to have that join your repertoire every year.
Sarah Day produced a CJAD 800 Christmas Carol. It airs tomorrow, Saturday night, 7 p.m., and then again on Saturday, December 24th, Christmas Eve at 6 p.m. 25 voices of CJADers and some of our friends across the hallway at Virgin and Show. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
When we return on the Elias Macko Show, Alan D'Souza from Ensemble Montreal will join us, and he's talking about how the city can give tax cuts to you. Tax cuts, I say. And that's next.